Right.
just, you know, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta
right.
keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
At first, folks brushed this clip off, just Diddy running his mouth like he always does. But his former personal chef, Cindy Rueda, wasn't laughing. Now that his trial's in full swing, she's finally speaking out, and what she's revealing about those private parties. It's wild. We're talking disturbing rituals, twisted demands, and yeah, she revealed she was one of Diddy's victims too. Let's get into it. The chef puts Diddy on blast. So check it. In the flashy world of celebs where stacks and fame often hide the grimiest secrets, one woman's legal battle against hip-hop mogul Diddy pulled back the curtain on some straight-up disturbing business. Cindy Rueda, who was slicing and dicing as Diddy's personal chef from January 2015 to May 2016, came through with a lawsuit that, looking back now, was like the first drop before the whole storm that eventually caught Diddy slipping. Her case, filed back in 2017 in Los Angeles, painted a picture of a work environment that was mad toxic harassment, inappropriate behavior, and grinding hours that would have anybody ready to throw hands. The lawsuit was seeking paper harassment, wrongful termination, retaliation, defamation, and violation of whistleblower protections. But the real tea was what folks are calling these disturbing meal rituals. Situations where Shawty was allegedly forced to cook and serve meals while Diddy and his crew were getting busy or had just finished getting it in. Talk about uncomfortable working conditions, no cap. Imagine getting a text to whip up some gourmet meal, only to roll up and find your boss and their guests either getting it on or just finished smashing. That's the reality Rueda claims she faced on the regular while working for Combs. She described instances where she was asked to serve post-coital meals, with Diddy allegedly making mad disrespectful remarks. On one occasion, she alleged that Diddy, butt naked, asked her if she was attracted to or liked his naked body after she entered his bedroom to serve a meal. That's some wild harassment right there. The lawsuit wasn't just coming for Diddy, but his whole entourage too. In another incident, Rueda claimed one of Diddy's male house guests, who had just finished getting it in with another guest, rolled up on her in the kitchen completely naked and asked her to look at and admire his genitals. She said she was mortified and reported the incident to her manager, which she claimed led to them getting back at her. No respect, straight up. Beyond the sexual harassment claims, Rueda's lawsuit exposed some slave driver working conditions that would have anybody ready to bounce. She said she was grinding from 9 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. or even 2 a.m., sometimes for weeks straight when traveling with Diddy to spots like Miami or Joshua Tree. She wasn't getting paid overtime or properly compensated for these crazy hours, earning a flat $150 per day at first, and later an annual salary of $91,000. For all that work, that's straight disrespect. Her job description was no joke. Grocery shopping, stocking the kitchen, organizing the pantry, and cooking meals for Diddy and his guests, often under pressure that would make Gordon Ramsay look chill. The lawsuit suggested these responsibilities were made even worse by an environment where inappropriate behavior was the norm, and speaking up got you labeled as a hater. One particularly wild incident went down in August 2015. Rueda said that when she showed up late because of traffic, Diddy went off on her in front of a guest, Gina Huyen, cussing her out and demanding breakfast immediately. When she entered his bedroom to serve the food, she caught Diddy and Huyen indisposed and engaged in sexual activity. Imagine trying to do your job professionally while navigating that kind of mess. The lawsuit also claimed that in June 2015, Diddy's manager made inappropriate comments about the size of her lips, and she was asked sexually oriented questions by her bosses, adding to what she described as a mad, uncomfortable work environment. Perhaps the most foul part was how Rueda got fired. She claimed she was let go in May 2016 after being accused of stealing a luxury watch. She said this was a setup orchestrated by Diddy's housekeeper, who offered her a watch supposedly found in a trash can. Rueda took it, only to later be accused of theft, which she said was just an excuse to fire her after she complained about how they were treating her. That's some straight up snake behavior. She also alleged she was pressured to sign a confidentiality agreement and an arbitration clause without being allowed to review them, with them threatening her job if she didn't. This tactic, if true, is how these industry big shots try to keep people quiet when they've seen too much. Diddy's response to these allegations was quick and dismissive. His team called the lawsuit frivolous and a shakedown attempt by a disgruntled ex-employee. They claimed that Rueda was fired for cause, specifically for stealing a luxury watch, which they said made her not credible. The legal team emphasized that Rueda had signed a plain vanilla arbitration agreement when hired, requiring any disputes to be handled through private arbitration rather than public courts. Combs' lawyers called her allegations infected with distortions, omissions, and outright falsehoods, and claimed her lawsuit violated the arbitration agreement. His attorney, Orrin Snyder, said that Combs Enterprises wouldn't be distorted and threatened to challenge her credibility in arbitration. A representative for Diddy told the Daily News in 2017, "This is a frivolous lawsuit by a disgruntled ex-employee who was fired for cause." This dismissal, calling Ruta just salty, would become Diddy's go-to response whenever someone came for him over the years. The legal outcome was mixed. In August 2017, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Elizabeth Allen White ruled that Rueda's lawsuit had to be resolved through private arbitration, as her employment agreement required. The judge shut down Rueda's attorney's argument that the arbitration clause was unconscionable and unfairly favored Diddy. The case was paused pending arbitration, with a follow-up hearing set for August 2018. By February 2019, Rueda and Diddy reached a settlement, with the details kept on lock. The attorneys told the court that the dispute had been resolved, effectively closing the case. No public record exists of what went down in arbitration or the settlement terms, which is typical for private arbitration and confidentiality agreements. What's particularly interesting about Rueda's lawsuit is how it foreshadowed the more serious allegations that would later come for Diddy. While her claims focused mainly on workplace harassment and labor violations rather than the trafficking or racketeering allegations that would hit later, they painted a picture of an environment where boundaries weren't respected and power was allegedly abused. Diddy's wild parties in the streets talking. The allegations made by Cindy Rueda about Diddy making her serve food while folks were getting busy is just the tip of the iceberg. As we dig deeper into the drama surrounding Combs, we get to his infamous parties, especially those freak-off events and his annual white parties, which have become central to understanding why the feds came for him. The term freak-off parties hit the mainstream when the feds started building their case. According to the 2024 federal indictment, these were described as elaborate and produced performances where women were allegedly forced into extended sexual acts with male workers. These events reportedly involved drugs, cocaine, GHB, oxycodone, hidden cameras, and IV fluids for recovery. When the feds raided Diddy's cribs, they found firearms, drugs, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. That's a suspicious amount of baby oil, no cap. The logistics of these events were managed like a business operation. A former party planner from 2004 to 2005 claimed women at these parties had to meet strict physical standards, including weight checks, max 140 pounds, and dress codes, with nobody asking about age. A dancer who performed at a 2005 VMA afterparty said she got invited to a private party at Diddy's spot, but the vibe was shady, so she dipped, noting that others who went weren't trying to talk about what went down. Receipts have emerged over time. Photos from a 2004 Miami party show Diddy eating fruit off a naked woman used as a human table, with celebrities like Will Smith, Bruce Willis, and Diana Ross in attendance. These pics have people side-eyeing the nature of his gatherings. Diddy's annual white parties, which ran from 1998 to 2009, were another level of his party culture that's now under the microscope. These high-profile events pulled A-listers like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Kim Kardashian. They were seen as glamorous at first, but now folks are looking at them differently given all the allegations. A former publicist said Diddy was obsessed with being the party king to maintain his industry pull. There were red flags even back then. Neighbors of Diddy's Beverly Hills mansion reported wild disturbances, with women appearing lost and disoriented outside, suggesting they were drugged or coerced. These accounts paint a picture of environments where inappropriate and potentially harmful behaviors were normalized. Diddy himself seemed to predict his eventual legal troubles related to his parties as far back as 1999. In a resurfaced interview, he said,
"Your parties are the hottest ticket around."
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my party. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time.
In another crazy video from 2002, Diddy made some Suez comments about the environment he created at his parties.
They
Right.
just, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta
right.
keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
Yeah.
rock with me. But just
Right.
check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat. You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
More tea came from former associates. Phil Pines, Diddy's former assistant, described Wild King Nights parties involving drugs, sex toys, and young women, with Diddy allegedly directing the whole scene like a movie. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, claimed Diddy recorded politicians and celebrities at freak-off parties, suggesting he was building leverage and using coercion. While these claims need verification, they add to the picture picture of parties being used for more than just turning up. The flood of lawsuits against Diddy really popped off with his ex Cassandra Cassie Ventura filing in November 2023. This lawsuit was the beginning of the end for Diddy's carefully crafted image and led to the criminal charges he's facing now. Ventura's lawsuit alleged that Diddy beat her down savagely and forced her into freak-offs with male workers while he watched. Though the suit was settled quick for an undisclosed amount, its allegations line up with the federal indictment's references to victim one, suggesting Ventura is snitching to the feds. Ventura's claims got mad credibility in May 2024 when CNN dropped surveillance footage from 2016 showing Diddy physically assaulting her in a hotel hallway. The video shows Diddy throwing Ventura to the ground, kicking her, dragging her, and throwing objects at her. Undeniable evidence that matched what she described in her lawsuit. After Ventura's lawsuit, the floodgates opened wide. In October 2024, attorney Tony Busby announced he was repping 120 accusers planning to sue Diddy, with allegations spanning over 20 years. These included claims of violent sexual assault and often facilitated by drugs, sexual abuse of minors, with 25 accusers claiming abuse when they were minors, including one as young as 9 years old, and the distribution of recordings of assaults for blackmail or leverage. Among the specific lawsuits filed, Ashley Parham, October 15, 2024, alleged Diddy along with associates. Christina Coram and Shane Pierce sexually assaulted and falsely imprisoned her in 2018 after she made comments linking Diddy to Tupac Shakur's murder. The lawsuit claims Diddy threatened her with a knife and forced a pill down her throat. Brianna Bana Bongolan, November 27, 2024, who worked with Ventura, alleged Diddy groped her, dangled her over a 17-floor balcony, and intimidated her during their working relationship. Crystal McKinney, May 2024, claimed Diddy drugged and sexually assaulted her in 2003 at a recording studio when she was 22, alleging a joint she smoked was laced with something. 3 male plaintiffs filed as John Does in 2024, alleging Diddy drugged them in 2019 and 2020 after they consumed drinks that knocked them out. One plaintiff claimed the assault occurred during a meeting about unpaid wages. Even Diddy's own business partners turned on him. Kirk Burrows, the Bad Boy Entertainment co-founder, alleged Diddy forced him to witness sexual acts, demanded acts, and blacklisted him in the music industry after Burrows refused to sign over his company's stake. The allegations extended to Diddy's family too. His son, Christian King Combs, faces a lawsuit from Grace O'Marseille, who alleges he sexually assaulted her on a yacht chartered by Diddy in 2022. The suit claims Diddy is liable for enabling a party environment with suspected workers and laced alcohol. On March 25, 2024, the feds finally came knocking. Homeland Security investigations ran up on Diddy's cribs in Los Angeles and Miami as part of a sex trafficking investigation. They seized guns, narcotics, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, allegedly connected to the freak-offs. These raids led to Diddy getting locked up on September 16, 2024, on federal charges including racketeering conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The indictment alleged that Diddy ran a criminal enterprise involving trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice from at least 2008 to the present. In one of his music videos, Diddy had perhaps unwittingly foreshadowed his own downfall. In footage that's been widely shared, he declared,
"Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!" Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay down. I'm not gonna stay lying down. I'm not. I can't do it, man. I can't do that. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I could do anything.
This savage mentality, thinking he could take whatever he wanted regardless of others' boundaries, seems to sum up the mindset that multiple accusers have said Diddy had. From Rueda's claims about being forced to serve meals during sex activities to more serious allegations of coercion, drugging, and a pattern emerges of someone who allegedly saw others' boundaries as obstacles to be overcome rather than limits to be respected. The feds pull up and the consequences get real. The flood of allegations against Sean Diddy Combs has led to one of the biggest legal takedowns in hip-hop history. As of May 8, 2025, Diddy is locked up in the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, New York, waiting for his trial on charges that could put him behind bars for life if the jury finds him guilty. Diddy got arrested on September 16, 2024, after the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York dropped an indictment on him. The charges allege that from 2008 to the present, Diddy ran a criminal enterprise involving trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment details freak-offs, events where Diddy allegedly orchestrated coercive sexual activities, often involving drugs and intimidation. The federal indictment against Diddy includes several serious charges. 1. Racketeering conspiracy, alleging he ran a criminal enterprise, the Combs Enterprise, involving Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and associates to facilitate crimes like sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. 2. Trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, involving at least 3 women, expanded to 4 in later indictments, with allegations of coercion through drugs, financial promises, and threats. 3. Transportation to engage in prostitution, related to moving women and male sex workers across state lines for freak-off parties. If convicted, Diddy faces a minimum of 15 years and up to life in prison. That's no slap on the wrist. We're talking about real time. The seriousness of these charges is shown by the court repeatedly denying Diddy bail. Despite offering a $50 million bail package, which included house arrest and ankle monitoring, judges have repeatedly deemed him a flight risk and a danger to the community, worried about witness tampering and obstruction. In November 2024, prosecutors accused Diddy of trying to obstruct justice from jail. They alleged he violated prison rules by paying inmates to use their phone accounts and making 3-way calls to contact people he wasn't supposed to, including potential witnesses. Recorded calls reportedly show Diddy telling family members to contact victims and witnesses and to post on social media to influence potential jurors. The prosecution's evidence includes items seized during the March 2024 raids on Diddy's properties, such as firearms, drugs, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Prosecutors also have 9 videos of alleged freak-off events, which they claim show Diddy's coercive sex activities. The trial started with jury selection on May 5, 2025, in the Daniel Patrick Moynihan Courthouse in Manhattan, overseen by U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian. Opening statements are expected to start on May 12, 2025, with the trial expected to last 8-10 weeks. In a major development, Diddy turned down a plea deal offered by federal prosecutors. On May 1, 2025, during a final pretrial hearing, Judge Subramanian asked Diddy to confirm whether he had rejected the government's plea offer. Diddy responded, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," confirming his decision to pass on the deal. The details of the plea offer weren't made public, but Assistant U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey noted that a guilty plea would have given Diddy a shorter prison term. Diddy's legal squad, led by attorneys Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, has built a defense around the claim that his sexual encounters were consensual, part of a swinger lifestyle rather than criminal activity. They've also argued that the prosecution is racially motivated, filing a motion to dismiss the transportation for prostitution charge on the grounds that it stems from the racially biased Mann Act, and that Diddy is being unfairly targeted as a powerful black man. The lead prosecutor in this case is Damian Williams, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, who has hinted that Diddy might not be the only big name to catch charges. In a brief statement, Williams suggested the case could implicate others.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
This statement has the streets talking about who else might get caught up in this investigation. Other industry players who might have known about or participated in Diddy's alleged activities. Diddy's legal troubles have had major personal and professional consequences. He's currently held in the Special Housing Unit, SHU, at MDC Brooklyn, which keeps inmates isolated in their cells for up to 23 hours a day with constant monitoring. The facility is known for its terrible conditions, described as disgusting and horrific by former inmates and legal advocates. Howard University took back Diddy's honorary doctorate and $1 million donation in June 2024. New York City Mayor Eric Adams revoked his key to the city, and Miami-Dade County canceled Sean Combs Day. Radio stations have edited songs to remove references to Diddy, and brands have cut ties with his businesses, including Sean John and Revolt TV. Despite being locked up and facing all these legal problems, Diddy continues to claim he's innocent. His longtime attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said in a recent interview that Diddy is a fighter who is innocent, while promising to appeal his no bail order.
I want him out because he should be out.
So safety's not an issue?
No, not safety's not an issue. He should be out. He deserves to be out. It's the United States. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Are you concerned that this goes the way of Epstein?
No, I'm not. We're gonna win this trial. We're gonna win this trial because he's innocent.
The case against Diddy has broader implications beyond just one celebrity getting caught up. It raises questions about power dynamics in the entertainment industry, the role of enablers and bystanders, and the structures that can allow alleged abuse to continue unchecked for years. From Cindy Rueda's 2017 lawsuit about disturbing meal rituals to the federal charges filed in 2024, a pattern emerges of allegations that were initially contained through legal mechanisms like settlements and NDAs, but eventually broke through to public consciousness. This suggests that while powerful figures may be able to temporarily silence accusers, persistent patterns of alleged misconduct can eventually lead to accountability. The case also highlights the challenges faced by accusers in coming forward against powerful figures. Many of Diddy's accusers waited years or decades to speak up, citing fear of retaliation or career damage. The rapid settlement of Ventura's lawsuit in 2023, followed by the release of surveillance footage supporting her claims in 2024, shows how evidence that might have led to earlier accountability can be suppressed through legal maneuvers. The trial's outcome will likely have significant implications for how the entertainment industry addresses allegations of misconduct and the structures that can enable abuse. Regardless of the verdict, the case has already prompted a reevaluation of Diddy's legacy and raised questions about who knew what and when about his alleged behavior. The progression from Rueda's workplace harassment claims to the current federal charges shows how seemingly isolated incidents may actually be connected to larger patterns of misconduct. Had her allegations been more thoroughly investigated at the time, rather than pushed into private arbitration, it's possible that other victims might have been spared and accountability might have come sooner. The credibility of the various allegations against Diddy varies considerably. Rueda's lawsuit contains specific details and was filed under penalty of perjury, giving it weight despite the lack of publicly known witnesses backing her up. Ventura's claims got major credibility with the release of surveillance footage showing Diddy physically assaulting her, providing visual evidence that's hard to deny. The federal indictment represents the most legally substantiated set of allegations, having been scrutinized by prosecutors and a grand jury before being filed. The items seized during raids on Diddy's properties provide physical evidence that appears to support some of the allegations about the nature of events held at his residences. However, other allegations, particularly those made anonymously or by individuals with potential financial motivations, require more careful scrutiny. Claims of satanic ritual orgies or broad conspiracies involving numerous celebrities, which have circulated in some corners of the internet, lack substantiation and often appear to be exploiting public interest in Diddy's case for clout or other gains. The response to allegations against Diddy illustrates how public perception and media framing of such cases have evolved over time. When Rueda's lawsuit was filed in 2017, the reaction was relatively muted compared to the attention given to later allegations. This may be due to the pre-hash Me Too peak timing, limited media amplification, or the lack of a public trial. After Ventura's 2023 lawsuit and subsequent allegations against Diddy, social media users revisited Rueda's case, framing it as an early warning sign of Diddy's alleged behavior. This reassessment shows how cultural shifts can affect the interpretation of past events and allegations. The case also raises important questions about power dynamics in the entertainment industry and the role of bystanders and enablers. If the allegations against Diddy are true, his behavior apparently occurred over decades and would have been witnessed or known by numerous individuals in the industry. This suggests a culture of silence and complicity that protected him from accountability for years while he was allegedly getting away with all types of foul behavior. As prosecutor Damian Williams hinted, there may be others who facilitated or participated in the alleged misconduct. The question of who else might get caught up in this investigation and what form that accountability might take remains open and will likely be a significant aspect of the ongoing legal proceedings. The streets are already talking about which other industry heavyweights might be sweating right now. There's a bigger conversation to be had here about how the industry enables and protects powerful figures. For years, there were whispers and rumors about Diddy's behavior, but they were dismissed or ignored. It took dozens of accusers and federal charges for those whispers to be taken seriously. This pattern is all too familiar in entertainment, where money and connections can shield people from consequences for their actions. What's particularly wild about this case is how many people claim they witnessed misconduct over the years but stayed silent. From party guests to industry executives, from employees to other artists, there were allegedly many who knew but did nothing. That silence created an environment where Diddy allegedly felt untouchable, like he could do whatever he wanted without repercussion. The disturbing meal rituals that Rueda described might seem relatively minor compared to the more serious allegations that followed, but they represent a crucial early warning sign. They showed a pattern of disrespect for boundaries and a belief that employees were expected to tolerate inappropriate behavior as part of their job. If these red flags had been taken more seriously, perhaps the alleged escalation of behavior could have been prevented. For those in the hip-hop community, Diddy's fall from grace has been particularly shocking. He was once seen as a visionary entrepreneur who helped shape the culture and business of hip-hop. He mentored artists, built businesses, and presented himself as a role model for success. Now that legacy is permanently tarnished, and many are reevaluating their relationships with him and his music. Radio stations have started playing edited versions of songs that feature Diddy, or removing them from rotation entirely. Artists who once proudly claimed association with him are now distancing themselves. Brands that partnered with him are cutting ties. It's a dramatic reversal of fortune for someone who once seemed untouchable in the industry. But perhaps the most significant impact of this case will be on those who have experienced similar abuse but have remained silent out of fear. Seeing a powerful figure like Diddy face consequences might embolden others to come forward with their own stories, both about him and about other powerful figures in entertainment. The silence that has protected alleged abusers for decades might finally be breaking. Whether Diddy is ultimately found guilty or not, the conversation this case has started about power, accountability, and the culture of silence in the entertainment industry is valuable. It forces us to reckon with the ways in which we as a society have enabled and protected powerful figures, often at the expense of their alleged victims. For Cindy Rueda, whose 2017 lawsuit was settled and largely forgotten until now, this renewed attention likely comes with mixed emotions. On one hand, her allegations are finally being taken more seriously in light of subsequent developments. On the other hand, it's a reminder of how her claims were initially dismissed and contained through legal mechanisms that prioritized Diddy's reputation over her experience. As the trial proceeds, it will be essential to focus on the evidence and the testimony of witnesses rather than sensationalized claims or conspiracy theories. The truth matters, both for the sake of justice in this specific case and for the broader conversation about accountability in the entertainment industry. As we await the outcome of Diddy's trial, one thing is clear: the conversation about power, accountability, and justice in the entertainment industry has been forever changed by these allegations. Whatever the verdict, the culture of silence that has protected powerful figures for decades is finally beginning to crack, and that may be the most significant legacy of this case. Thanks for rocking with me. If you thought this video was wild, make sure you peep those other bangers showing up on your screen right now. They're just as fire, no cap. I'll catch you in the next video. Stay woke.